بسم الله وهنبدأ مع بعض lesson number 2. lesson number 2 بيتكلم على resistors connection. في resistors connection لما يكون عندي resistance R1 connected with another one resistor R2, in this way is called series connection. في resistance R1 في resistance R2. In this way, this is called parallel connection. We have two types of connection, series connection and parallel connection. طيب say R1 equals 5 ohm, R2 10 ohm. So R total equals R1 plus R2, which equals 5 plus 10 equals 15 ohm. هنا لو R1 equals 10, R2 equals 10, so R total equals 10 divided 2, which equals 5 ohm. So when you connect a group of resistors in a parallel means the electric current will be divided to pass through the two resistors. Okay, so the current will divide to pass through the two resistors. We will obtain a resistors which is smaller than each of them. Here we will obtain a resistor higher than the summation, which equals the summation of them, higher than each of them. So 15 higher than 5 higher than 10. This means that if we have a resistance, the current passes is constant R1 and R2. The current is constant, passes through R1 and R2, connected with the potential difference. This is called V1 and this is called V2 and this is called V total for V1 and V2. I is constant, so V total equals V1 plus V2. V total equals I R total. V1 equals I R1 plus I R2. So we will take I as a common factor, so I equals R1 plus R2 and I R total. We will make a simplify, so R total equals R1 plus R2, which is the summation of them. We can explain the summation of resistors with another way. Suppose R directly proportional with L. So we have L1 and connected L2. So L total equals L1 plus L2. This means that if we connect a group of resistors in series, L1, L2, L3, L4, as the length increases, the total resistance of the wire will increase. Here, suppose we have two resistors, R1, R2. The electric current passes through them will divide I1 and I2, but they have the same potential difference. The potential difference between two terminals of R2 is the same potential difference between two terminals of R1. So I divide into I1 and I2, but V is constant. So I equals I1 plus I2. So I equals V over R. That's V over R total, because it is I total. So V over R1 plus V over R2. We will take V as a common factor, so 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. Here V over R total. So simplify V with V, 1 over R total equals 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. If you wanted to calculate R total, so R total equals 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2, all power negative 1. In another way, mathematically, we can write it as the following. R total equals R1 R2 divided R1 plus R2. The multiplication of the two resistors divided their summation. Okay, this is to find R1. We have a special case. If R1 equals R2, so R total equals R1 R2, يبقى R1 multiply R1 because R1 equals R2 divided R1 plus R1, so R1 by R1 divided to R1. Simplify, so which equals R1 divided 2. This is R total, which explain connection of a group of resistors in parallel. We will obtain a new resistor. Its value will be lower than the value of each of them. Okay, here we have a special case. A special case when R1 equals R2, so R total equals R1 plus R2, so R1 plus R1 equals to R1. So finally, if we can summarize the relation. If we have a group of resistors connected in series, their number n, so R total equals n R, which equals one of them. If we connected them in parallel, so R total equals R divided n. n is the number of the resistors connected. طيب احنا شرحنا اللوز اللي هي البارل كونكشن والسيريس كونكشن، وعرفنا ازاي نتعامل مع كل واحده فيهم. بس الموضوع مش بالبساطه دي، الموضوع محتاج نحل شويه عليه.